Set against a vast and turbulent canvas of 19th-century Russia, Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy depicts the doomed love affair between the rebellious Anna and the handsome officer, Count Vronsky. Tragedy unfolds as Anna rejects her passionless marriage and endures the hypocrisies of society. Beautiful, dynamic, and eminently readable, this Anna Karenina will be the definitive fiction for generations to come. The Great Gatsby chronicles an era of jazz age where the American society enjoyed unprecedented prosperity during the 1920s following the end of World War I. Although the protagonist Nick Carraway idolized the riches and glamour of the jazz age, he was troubled by the unrestrained decadence, hedonism, and materialistic adulation. This is Harper Lee's masterwork of honor and injustice in the deep south of America poisoned by virulent prejudice. It is a gripping and heart-wrenching tale involves racial injustice, violent hatred, and the destruction of innocence. Seen through the lens of a young girl, it tells how her father was willing to risk everything as a lawyer to defend a black man accused of a terrible crime. Considered as the most loved books of all time, Pride and Prejudice is Jane Austen's masterwork. Narrated in free and direct speech, it tells the story of how Elizabeth Bennet deals with upbringing, marriage, education, and moral righteousness. The razor-sharp satire of English aristocratic society and a stirring tribute to the transformational power of romance are fascinatingly memorable. Great Expectations is a gripping tale of crime and guilt, revenge and reward. It depicts the story of the orphan Pip who dares to dream of becoming a gentleman. Some of the compelling characters include Magwitch, the fearfully gruesome convict, and the embittered and eccentric jilted bride, Miss Havisham. This story can also be considered a semi-autobiographical by Charles Dickens, who draws upon his life experiences in many of his work. Wuthering Heights is a critical novel for two reasons: its honest and accurate portrayal of life, women, society, and class structure of Britain in the mid-19th century. On the surface, it is a love story. Yet, delving deeper, readers find both a symbolic and psychological aspects relating to issues such as child abuse and alcoholism. Many critics praise Bronte's poetic style, imagery, and word choice in her singular work of fiction. The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn tells the story of Huckleberry and Jim in their attempts of emancipation. Huckleberry desires to break free from the physical and mental constraints of society while Jim is fleeing a life of literal enslavement. Huckleberry is convinced that he can't return Jim to slavery. Mark Twain addresses America's painful contradiction of racism, religious hypocrisy, and slavery in a free and equal society. Les Miserables is widely considered as one of the greatest historical fictions of the 19th century. Victor critiques the social injustices such as the wealth distribution and France's rigid class system. He champions a moral revolution anchoring upon love and compassion. The novel chronicles the rise and fall of Napoleon, as well as the restoration and eventual decline of the Bourbon monarchy. Jane Eyre is a Bildungsroman or coming-of-age novel. The protagonist, Jane, is a strong and independent lady in the Victorian era. She rebels against class and gender inequalities, yet she remains true to her moral integrity when she knows Mr. Rochester is a married man. It's a wonderful story of Jane's financial empowerment and Mr. Rochester's personal transformation. Don Quixote is a novel about an idealistic man who wants to be a hero, proving that chivalry is not dead. Honest, dignified, but arrogant, he wants to save the world. Yet, he succumbs to mental illness due to his excessive ruminations. Considered by literary historians to be one of the most important books of all time, Don Quixote conveys the radical message that individuals can be right just by being true to themselves. Subscribe to Booklighten today to enliven your hearts and empower your minds.